fun couple of days working with you. Honestly, your place here is super, super rad, and I'm excited for you and proud of you for what you're building.
Thanks.
From the bottom of my heart, I honestly am always grateful for anybody who trusts me with their vehicles, and I know that this car is super special to you.
Yeah.
And so I first of all want to thank you very much for trusting me to come out and work with you on this car.
Well, I did stalk you first on social media to make sure you kind of seemed like you knew what you were doing.
Awkward.
Right? I'm like, how long has he been doing this?
That's cool.
No, I was thankful for the opportunity for sure. And it came out really nice.
So I wanted to kind of ask you, what was in bringing me down here, kind of what was your why? Like, why did you even want me to come down and help work with you on these cars?
Well, because you seemed like you did a really good job and I wanted my car to look nice.
Right on.
No, I really have always wanted to learn to buff and polish, and it's really intimidating to me because I don't want to screw it up. Like obviously when I love the car, and black is so difficult that I didn't want to screw it up. So it's like, and you seem like you knew what you were talking about and were willing to teach me.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, that would be cool. Like he'll do it and then teach me and I'll learn. And so that was like, yeah, it's a great idea.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
When I'm used to working with people that just want to hire me to, make their car look beautiful.
Right.
And, the fact that we met in the Obsessed Garage group was pretty cool. And I started watching you building all this out and seeing how involved you were, with your own cars. And
Right.
For me, that drew me in to want to work with you.
Right.
I thought that would be a really fun, I train a lot of professional detailers.
Mm-hmm.
And I do some light DIY training.
Yeah.
But, to get to come out and work with you on such a special car that's special to you.
Right.
And this is honestly the paint work on these cars being a solid black color and these JDM paint finishes they're not easy cars to work on. So it created a really fun, interesting challenge to not only first of all perform the service, but then to teach you how to do it alongside with me, and you crushed it. You totally knocked it out.
I was so nervous.
No, you did great. I'm really happy and very proud of what we did together. So let's dive into a little bit of what we did. So I want to kind of first just ask you, I know you learn a lot. Obviously, I threw a ton of information at you. So, what are some of your biggest takeaways? Let's start with kind of the biggest takeaways first.
Well, it made me not afraid, which is great, because I was definitely really timid to mess with it too much. But I learned that waterless wash can be awesome, and actually is preferred. And but previously, I always thought you always need water involved. And then I learned that the paint actually is kind of alive, as you call it, and it moves and it changes in how the acids of the water can penetrate and all that. There's so much information that I was like, whoa, actually, I could avoid water. I could use waterless wash, or I don't know.
Yeah.
That was my biggest it really actually, I learned a lot of things. It changed the way that I thought about detailing in general, and how much you can fix. You don't have to repaint. You can actually fix these things, and that was amazing to me.
So let's kind of dive into a couple of the specifics. So let's talk about, you said that you learned that waterless washing can actually be a preferred or a safer method than water and soap. So what is it about the waterless wash versus water and soap that is safer?
Well, I learned that the waterless wash actually has more lubricating properties. Is that how you say it?
Yep.
And so then it protects it better as you're cleaning it then?
Yep.
Rather than the water and soap can be more abrasive, or water in itself could be more abrasive, right?
Mm-hmm. It can. Well, water in itself actually, it actually can be abrasive. Obviously, water can flush, mud and dirt and debris off of the panel. But what does tend to happen is that a lot of times there's so much debris that's still left on the panel that people think it is the safer method, and when the reality is they actually are causing damage, and then by the time they dry it, they're like, what did I do?
Right.
And when you're using waterless wash, it actually is you're very connected with what's happening.
Okay.
The lubricating properties, as you said, with the right microfiber towels, it's going to glide and pull the dirt away from the panel.
Right.
And you'll feel it if you're starting to scratch, and you can stop immediately and be like, okay, what's going on?
Right.
So.
And I love that you even showed me how to use the rag so that I'm not re-rubbing whatever I'm taking off back across it again.
Yes.
And like just the method of that.
Yes.
I thought it was super
The
cool.
right product of liquid, the right product of towel, and the right technique.
Right.
Those three things are very critical. In reality, that's kind of in general
Right,
stuff, right?
right.
From washing, then what do we do next?
Then we clayed it.
Yes, and
we
why?
Why did we clay it?
Yeah.
To remove all the fallout.
Yep.
Is that the word?
Yep, fallout. So industrial fallout is the general term.
Okay.
Fallout is like brake dust and other just
Okay.
particulate floating around the air. Sometimes you get paint overspray and different types of things. In your case, this was a well-maintained car that had been previously detailed and coated, and so you didn't have a lot of fallout. So we were able to very quickly, easily clay it using a synthetic clay pad, which is
Right,
nice.
which I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was anything but a bar.
They're much better for maintenance detailing for the average person taking
Okay.
care of their own car. They're a lot safer to use, kind of easier to use, you know.
Right.
Bugs.
I'm telling you.
And you know, so you know, the only time we would typically pull out traditional clay is like inside the badges, or
Right.
if there's like heavy fallout, or like you know, paint overspray, that sort of thing. Then what was next after that?
What did we do next?
You know, that really long process.
Oh, we went right to that. I was thinking maybe I'm missing a step. So then we buffed it.
Yeah.
Right? Which was cool because I got to learn like about, well, products. I got to learn about your equipment. I got to learn how to do it. Like there was so much that
Yeah.
it's like opened up a new world for me. Like,
That's
oh,
awesome.
I could do this. Like,
Yeah.
I could make my cars amazing.
So paint correction itself is a very overwhelming like thing to learn.
Yeah.
When I hire people at my shop, who typically depends on their experience level, but there's often times where I won't even put a polisher in an employee's hand for like 3 months because I want them to learn all the fundamentals first, because paint correction itself is a whole world of knowledge of understanding the different compounds and pads and machinery and speed and pressure and angle and all these different things. So, like, you know, I've said to you multiple times during this detail, like you picked it up really fast and were really fluid. A lot of people forced the machine, and you allowed the machine to do what it was supposed to do, which was really cool. You know, one thing that I kind of want to speak to our viewers on this is that when you're out researching, there's this constant conversation of like, what's the best pad? What's the best polish compound? What's the best machine? It's a big world of products out there. The nice thing is right now there's a lot of great options out there. I mean, you'll see that, you know, I'm predominantly a CarPro, you know, product user, but I work with, you know, McGuire's has products we use. We have our own products that we use. We work with Shine Supply, and then, you know, and occasionally some just different brands. Ultima is another brand we'll work with, Roops, Flex. So there's these different products, Lake Country for pads as well. But what I try to do is simplify it down as much as possible. So like what we did was we stuck with the McGuire's microfiber cutting pad to cut through the damage using CarPro's Ultra Cut compound. So what I did to kind of speed up the process a little bit during the cutting, because I didn't have 2 bottles of the CarPro Ultra Cut, is I used Clear Cut from CarPro. So it did behave a little differently. I liked what Ultra Cut was doing on the paint. I liked the way it was responding better, but I was able to make it work. And then, and this is what's kind of an important thing is that it's best if you can pick like 2 to 3 pads that you're gonna kind of stick with, and then like 2 different types of compounds and 2 different types of polishes, and kind of make that arsenal work for you. You'll find that the process will become simpler and you'll get more acclimated to what you're doing a little bit faster. Now, if you were to visit my shop in San Diego, what you're gonna find is a very large arsenal of products. But I've got very highly trained guys. They know when they run into weird situations, like, I think I'm gonna go grab that. Yeah, that works, cool. And then, you know. But when you're getting things kind of rolling, it's best to just kind of keep it simple, you know? What would you say was like the most surprising part of like compounding for you?
I am surprised how like the car before even, like the compounding or the polishing, I guess those are 2 different
The
things.
compounding part.
The compounding part, the most surprising. I'm amazed how much it pulled out that I didn't think would come out. Like, well, I've never compounded or polished. So like I have no experience, and I didn't even know what to expect and what it can do. So going through that and seeing like all these little swirl marks, these things are all just coming out, and it looks like good, other than like it's still milky before you polish it. But I was like, it's just coming out. This is magical.
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing.
Yeah, and the reason it looked kind of milky, if you recall, is because we're starting with a much larger abrasive size, and then it works down to kind of a medium size abrasive.
Okay.
So it's still going to leave some controlled, purposeful damage. Essentially, what we're doing, we're not filling in scratches. We are bringing the clear coat down. So if this is, if you've got a scratch like this, right? We're bringing the clear coat down below that scratch. So if you've got swirl marks, we're coming below that. Now, we did make some decisions around your car, as you recall, right? There were certain, we call them RIDs, random isolated deep scratches. There were certain RIDs around the vehicle that, based on the age of the vehicle and that it wasn't painted, super thick, that could we have done a little wet sanding, a little more aggressive polishing and got that out? Yes. Could we have potentially created a problem where we went through the clear coat and or just shortened the lifespan of the paint? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So overall, we have this beautiful finish, but we still have a little material to work with. The nice thing is, in like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, if you feel like, some things happen, maybe you made a few mistakes in the car washing process over the years or whatever, bird bombs, whatever, we still have a little bit of paint to work with. We could go through this process again, maybe not as aggressively, but we could still fix stuff. So it's kind of better sometimes to back off and, preserve the paint. What was kind of the most challenging part of correction, would you say?
My untrained eye. That was hard for me. But I think by the end, I started to understand a little bit, other than the parts that I missed that you had to fix. I started to understand a little bit like what I was looking for. Initially, that was really overwhelming for me. Like, well, what the heck am I looking for? And he's saying he's seeing this, and I'm like, I don't really know what you're seeing. But I mean, that was challenging. But learning, I had to learn to relax. So that was tough because I'm not very relaxed. And learning to flow with it and stuff. But I feel like it came like pretty quickly, where I was like relaxed.
It's a very, literally everybody I teach to polish, I do a little tap on their...
I was glad that you kept doing that, because I just I'm so focused on like trying to make sure the pad's spinning.
Yes.
And I kept I was like stalling it out, so I'm like really trying to keep my pressure even, and so I kept like doing this. Yeah.
It's really, really common. You start seeing people's shoulders coming up and everything's locking up, and for one, it's going to wear you out. Right. And you will not polish as well. Right. The machines, you're now this like tight unit versus flowing. Right. It was a really fun, I think I told you it was really fun. I went out to go take a phone call and I walked back in and I'm watching you got the I relaxed because you're not staring at me. No, but I realized if you kind of you kind of lock, relax though, but so you're not hurting your arms, and then actually use your body more, that it was better, and I could keep pressure more even and a nice kind of flow with the body lines. So what were your expectations of how easy or difficult did you think that the paint correction process, was there anything that was that kind of caught you off guard, or what expectations did you have coming into it? I tried not to have any. I don't know. That's cool. I was just I'll just learn something. Yeah. Because I feel like if you love cars, or if you love your car, or you should just kind of learn everything you can about it. Because that's kind of my style. I want to know how to do everything with my car. Yeah. And so I was just kind of in learning mode. Cool. I'm just going to try to so I had really no expectations other than he's going to be here a couple days and we're going to work. Yeah, we definitely worked. You can tell we worked. We stanky. Let's talk like this. Nice to meet you. So the polishing process. So, to be honest, I had expectations, or not exact expectations. I had hopes that final polishing was going to go a little bit faster and a little easier. I should have known better. I know that these cars have kind of a sticky paint, and it's very porous, very soft. What becomes challenging is trying to decipher, you mentioned the haze, right? So the dual action polisher leaves dual action polisher haze, the short term for the DA haze, right? And that haze is the controlled damage that we're causing to scrub away clear coat. Right. When we're final polishing, what's hard to sometimes decipher is have we removed all of the DA haze that we caused? And or are we causing new DA haze with the final polishing steps? And so, you know, and especially when you start getting into the channels and things like that, it becomes a lot more challenging.
Right.
This car, you know, you've got, there's, you know, some, you know, different kind of like body kit type things on there. There's the wing. There's definitely, you know, there's some curves. There's definitely some challenges to face with this car. And, you know, admittedly, I hit some frustration points.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's something that I kind of want to, again, also kind of convey is like, it's not just always going to go flawlessly. You see a lot of, you know, detailing shops that have been doing this for years. I've been paint correcting and doing high-end detailing for 15 years. The guys at my shop, I mean, one of my detailers has been doing this closer to 20 years. We still get frustrated. We still go through moments of like, just, oh, I just want this to go smoother.
Yeah.
You know, this is not easy, especially on a, again, jet black, that solid black. It's every little tiny thing that's wrong, you're gonna see it, especially under directional light with those little lights.
Those little lights.
Those little,
Those little lights.
Yeah. You know, what's nice is those lights will actually show us more than the direct sunlight will.
Okay.
So that's the good news. If we can be satisfied with the work we performed under a direct LED light like that,
Yeah.
you're gonna love it outside.
Right.
You know, obviously these LED lights where it's not directional, it's just kind of, you know, it all looks, you know, super stunning. And then we moved on.
Super stunning.
It is super stunning. I mean, it's all just an illusion, but
Oh, right. We actually didn't work.
We didn't do anything. We actually just drank beer this whole time.
Beer.
So after final polishing, we did the Car Pro Eraser. Remember, that's the panel wipe.
Right.
That prep to make sure all the oils were off, and then
Yeah.
we moved on to, we applied Seaquartz UK 3.0. So Seaquartz UK 3.0 is more chemically resistant, and Seaquartz SIC is more water spot resistant, and also has a little bit of a like kind of a little more slickness and a little higher shine.
Okay.
So it's nicer as the top coat.
Okay.
So, do you remember why we started with Seaquartz UK 3.0 as our base coat, and then followed up with the Seaquartz SIC as our top coat?
So the difference I learned is that the one we use for base coat, don't ask me to quote you on what it's called. The one we use for base coat was more chemical resistant,
Yeah.
but it wasn't as resistant to water spots as the top coat. And the top coat also finished a little bit slicker.
Yep.
So that worked better than as a top coat.
Exactly. Yeah, and the SIC kind of has like, you'll feel it's super slick and it has a little bit of a higher shine. The other thing is, now what I'm about to describe is very subtle, but UK 3.0 has a little more of a warm glow to it.
Okay.
Now you'll see that more so on a vehicle that's like bright color.
Okay.
You'll see it has this kind of glow,
Right.
and then the SIC has this like kind of higher reflectivity, like a high shine to it. Again, if you did two cars, like one all UK 3.0, one all SIC, this difference is very subtle, but it is there, and it's kind of fun when you start coating more cars, you start seeing kind of the difference. So.
Right.
Well, again, I'm super proud of what you accomplished on this car. You really did an excellent job. I'm very pleased with what we did here. We even went through some of this carbon fiber cowling.
It looks so much better.
Yeah, I got all that polished and coated up. The wings looking really great. What's cool is the wash mist, the waterless wash. That's our own waterless
really
wash.
like that.
We're going to use that on the interior just as a really gentle wipe down. So you'll see that's kind of.
I was really impressed with that because I've tried waterless washes. I have things that I take to shows and like try, but like every time I use them, I'm like, eh.
A lot of them get like almost like sticky or something, or they leave like a haze.
Right, and then when you try to clean that haze, I feel like I'm
Yeah.
now leaving swirls or something. Like I'm just like.
That was a really big thing in creating wash mist. I was using different waterless washes where I would waterless wash the car as a prep, and then I would use a detailer spray to final wipe it.
Okay.
And I was always frustrated by that. I'm like, I don't understand why we can't have. So when creating wash mist, we were able to accomplish both.
Right.
So if you just have like a really light layer of dust, you can literally just give it a quick spritz and wipe it, and you're done. It cleans glass really well. You're gonna see when we do the interior glass, it's like it's super crisp and clear. Again, on the interior, it has some surfactants, which is like cleaning power to get some of the stuff off, like steering wheel and whatever, you know. And then it'll leave some polymers behind to give a little UV protection. So, I offer a lot of training. So whether it's private training, if you're looking to take care of your own vehicles and you want to step up your level of detailing. If you're a detailer trying to take your business to the next level, I do like coaching calls, like mentorship. I train on technique, help people really just kind of elevate whatever goals you have. I'm here to help you. We also have different locations that offer different services. So San Diego, we have a 10,000 square foot facility, lots of employees and contractors. We do paint protection film, ceramic coatings, paint corrections, window tint, lots of cool different vehicle styling options, vinyl wraps and custom painting, calipers and emblems, and we've already talked about a few fun things we could do here.
Great.
And I live out in Woodstock, Georgia, and I'm pretty flexible. I can pretty much go anywhere in the world to work on special projects or provide training. We also have a location up in the Carson City area in a little cool town called Gardnerville in Nevada that my really good friend Chris Dorsey, that's his Elite Finish location.
Okay.
And he's doing some paint protection film and very high in detailing. He likes to do a lot of like resto mod type stuff. He takes a lot of classic cars, fully wet sands them after they've been painted, and like really does a lot of that cool kind of stuff. So
it was just fun to like scroll through and like see all the neat cars that you guys have done, and I was just like, ooh, these are really cool, and just see how they, like it was fun just to like.
Awesome, cool. Well, good job, and thank you again for having me out. And hit me up if you ever need any help, and I guess on to the next one, huh?
Yeah.
Let's do it.